but they've got to get through Galaxy Phoenix, the dark horse roster who is looking to make history. And let's face it, they already have made history. Now, Winnie gets a lot of attention as well. Why is Winnie such a big talking point, specifically for Gold Lane?
Well, for me, it's because she's literally only played 2 heroes this entire MWI. It's her very dependable Claude and the fact that her Harith is also great too. We were talking about it behind the scenes. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's so dependable that Na'Vi need to find a way to answer it. It's an awkward spot. You don't want to ban a Claude.
Yeah, it's just a really, really awkward spot right now for everybody involved, right? I mean, for Winnie, it's like, all right, if you keep on leaving the Claude open, I'm going to pick it up. But the fact that we've seen Na'Vi deal with the Claude, pick it up themselves as well, that's why it's going to be really, really cool to see the drafts here. Whether or not it's going to be full on weak side, play around the jungle again, or will we see finally a Winnie on strong side pick?
And we're about to head to the stage in just a moment's time to get the ladies on the stage, get them ready to go, and then head into map 1. Again, it is going to be a best of 5. We've spoke a lot about Pha, the king of the jungle, and how good she's been. We've been praising her name since day 1. Pha, like, been screaming it out here. Hey, but is she truly the jungle? Let's find out. Hey, the stage is set. We're ready to go. Let's bring the competitors up there.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for day 4 of MWI here at the Esports World Cup. So far, we have seen the highest levels of play, but we are done with all of that 2 out of 3. As moving forward, everything is going to be 3 out of 5 in our 2 semifinals.
Oh, baby, I love you, thank you.
What do we have today?
Rob, it's an exciting day today. The semifinals are about to be played, and we're about to kick off the first semifinal of the day. Listen, it's time to welcome our first team qualifying out of Cambodia, Team Galaxy Phoenix.
Galaxy Phoenix. Let's go, let's go.
Proven to be an absolute powerhouse in their first international appearance. Imagine making a splash like this and letting it be known that even going up against the best, they refuse to be shaken. Now we'll see just how far they'll take it. Let's send things over to our interview.
Now, girls, this is the best showing for Cambodia yet. You have already done your country proud. Anything you would like to say to your opponents?
បាទអញ្ចឹងយើងបាននាំមោទនភាពដល់សរុបខ្មែរតាមមានអ្វីដែលចង់និយាយទៅកាន់ប្រកួតប្រជែងរបស់យើងគូប្រកួតប្រជែង
Chơi hẹp bé đi chơi vậy không ai được. Lôi
ពួកខ្ញុំសុំទៅ Grand Final មុនទេ
I want to say that to our opponent that we're going to make it to the grand final today.
Chôm lôi mà, chơi gì không phải.
Wish you luck. Please head on over to your battle station.
Oh man, they try to punch that ticket in the grand finals, ladies and gentlemen. The pressure does not get higher than this, but our next team is accustomed to it. Please welcome to the stage, Na'Vi!
Qualified out of the Philippines, they had a strong start, and they unfortunately could not get the first win, but they've been through the trenches and got a couple wins. They're the only team going for the clean sweep yesterday over Team Ray Young, led by Not Ayanami, absolutely on fire.
Cái mò hời nè, cái
Looking for a title that has eluded them since
xe làm dân.
Look at Asmarai in this exact same position yesterday as I interviewed you as a winner. Now, anything you would like to say to your rising stars, the opponents, Galaxy Phoenix?
We'll just do our best now and win this game.
In this game, you shall. Please take your seats at your battle station. So yes, yesterday, we have seen some really interesting things unfold. Right now, stakes are high and hunger shows. We've opened up the knockout stages, seeing our top seeds with an unblemished run go the full distance. And with a surprise flip in the script, Na'Vi PH actually took down their opponents to be here today. But as Marai mentioned yesterday, deja vu? Could this be their miracle run again? Let's see here, because in this matchup, who are they facing? The very foe that put them in this position to be crawling out of the brackets. This is a rematch of day 1. Over to you guys at the casters, and welcome to the knockout stages semi-finals.
Cheryl, Damascus, Hollywood Rob TV looking phenomenal up there, and so are our competitors. The ladies have taken the stage, and things start to get real. It's the knockout stage. It's semifinals. Winner moves forward to grand finals. The loser's not done just yet, but they won't have a shot at the championship title. Boys, let's break it down even further. We've talked about storylines, Queen of the Jungle, but now let's dig a little bit deeper. I want to talk, not Ayanami, who has been
Oh baby I love you ตามปีในสกูล
and from what I'm hearing, she is
ตามปีมัน
her,
เพลง
not
ให้
Ayanami.
ใคร
What does she bring to the Navi roster?
Well, right now, the most unique hero pool in all of MWI. 8 unique heroes picked, only played the CC twice.
โอเคโอเคเดี๋ยวดีหัว
She is
จอยไมค์คนบางแล้วแต่
she is
ไลฟ์เรียวอยู่
very flexible in
เป็น
terms
จำ
of
อยู่
what
เด้
the team needs from her.
Yeah, she feels it exactly what the team needs, right? Yesterday, they needed someone in the XP to deal damage. They wanted to play utility jungle just to take away from their opponents straight up. They are able to understand, to read the game so well, and it just takes away the weapons from their opponents. So right now, I think finally, they get some time to read Galaxy Phoenix. The first time they met, it almost felt like it was a Navi from last year.
Oh, yeah.
Up against Game and Gladiators, where they lost as well, where they just weren't expecting some of these weapons to come out. Now that they're fully aware of it, now that they've gone through those reviews of the VODs, I think they'll know exactly who to target. Fa on those assassin jungles, and maybe punish Winnie on that Euro pool that we were talking about.
Yeah, I got to talk to Coach King
งั้นนั้นខ្មែរលើកពីរនេះ
The ladies did have a bit of nerves during
ខ្មែរ go to grand final
They regained their confidence. It was like that moment from the Lion King, remember who you are. And they remembered who they were.
Navi, man, sometimes the nerves can hit even for the best out there. That's what I want to see today. Smiles on the stage, but both teams can't smile, of course, because one of the teams have to lose. Now, for Galaxy Phoenix on the opposite side, going back to Fa, she is absolutely unstoppable. Fun fact, she has a 100% win rate with Ling. So if Ling is chosen for Fa, ooh, I don't know, you might be in a little bit of trouble. Sora's also, of course, quite powerful, but Ling, at least for Fa, is great. So on the opposite side of Fa, you got Keshi. Can Keshi truly counter Fa? Because she clearly needs to step it up in her lane today.
Yeah, actually, after the loss to Galaxy Phoenix, Navi doubled down on the Filipino playstyle of picking the tank utility junglers. A lot of Bakshas, Akais, heroes that could actually threaten an assassin-centered jungler like Fa. So I think Galaxy Phoenix needs to pay extra attention to protecting their side of the river, because if they don't, then Fa cannot get fired up.
Could be very tough for Fa, but the thing is, when we're talking about Keishi, she's really good on the assassins as well, right? So if we're talking, all right, you want to neutralize their game through objectives, you go for those tanks, the utility jungles. But if Navi want to turn it around, just flip the script, they could be the ones to pick up the assassins, go 50-50, especially in a best of 5. Try to read your opponents in, maybe get that morale advantage in game 1, game 2, and then maybe go for the head quick. Clean sweep.
Let's go, let's do it. Họ đã plan trên cho mình chạy tới bộ những tác
These
phẩm đã cho
teams have
nên
history. They've met before. Sometimes Galaxy Phoenix gets the best of Navi, and then the opposite way around. The biggest note, though, for Galaxy Phoenix coming into this is they really have already proven themselves. They've already made history. They were the dark horses coming in, and my goodness, they are making a championship run. They are officially in contender territory.
chạm tết
They haven't had anything to lose from the start of the tournament to now. I say get loose on stage, feel good. You've already made it this far. Maybe you can go a little bit further.
Yeah, I think that's why that's the vibe of Galaxy Phoenix. They know that there weren't a lot of expectations for them. They weren't expecting a lot out of themselves, but everything that they have done has just been so
Oh
natural.
baby I love you ตามปีใน
Not
สกู
always
ล
the cleanest, but it's entertaining, and a lot of, I think, MLBB players can relate to how they play the game.
It's something we don't see in the men's scene anymore, you know? It's always just a system. You need to follow the meta. You need to do a certain, play style to win the game. Here, we see a lot more of team identity.
Yes.
What their strong suits are and how to utilize it in the game. And it starts in the drafts.
Let's get the first draft started for our semifinals.
Let's go, let's
In the
go.
best of 5, this is just map 1, but nobody wants to fall behind. You want to dominate your map 1, end up ahead. It makes you feel a lot more comfortable. Trust me, especially if you don't have to be forced to come back. Boys, let's break it down.
All right. Firstly, Flying Clouds. So far already, I think this is a pretty good map choice for Galaxy Phoenix. They're getting what they want. That aggression early on, fast pace, trying to join the team fight or rejoin the team fight depending on the situation.
Họ ta đã plan trên cho mình chạy tới bộ những tác phẩm đã cho nên merit
Na'Vi because these are the two picks that messed them up in their first meeting. For those two games, Galaxy Phoenix rushed the Belleric and rushed the Guinevere. Na'Vi had difficulty against it. So instead of trying to see whether or not they're ready to deal with it now, they just said, nope, we want to take it out. So GXP will also take out the mentioned earlier and would take out the Harith, meaning that we return to just a trade between the Carry and Moskov in the gold lane.
Yeah, could be the juice in as well here. Depends on what they want to try to prio, right? The Akai still comes up. When we're talking about Na'Vi Philippines, they've been able to dominate the neutral objective game through picking up the Akai. Great flex pick too. Something that a lot of teams here in the knockout stage have been utilizing. The Paquito will be banned out, despite, I think, the Esmeralda rising in popularity. The Paquito is just too oppressive still.
And it's a difficult choice for Na'Vi. You have Marcel open, Freya open, Esmeralda that you mentioned. So there's 3 picks now that most likely Galaxy Phoenix will be able to get 2 of them on the swing back.
So let's just see. What do Na'Vi prioritize here?
I want to see a juice in priority. There they go for the Marcel. I think that's like the most stable out of the 2 because at least now there's a little bit more choices for Galaxy Phoenix that Na'Vi will have some open picks for them that are power meta picks.
And what's different though is that Ainami, I believe, usually runs a Boxia, or at least she has, and she's found high success with that. How do you think she's going to do with the Marcel? What's the difference in a Marcel and the Boxia pick?
I mean, well, for Mirai on the roam for the Marcel, I think that allows Mirai to get into the river and keep getting tabs onto where Galaxy Phoenix is. Because we've talked about it. If you want to read Galaxy Phoenix, you need to know where the jungle is. If you are letting Fa get to where she wants to go without any information, it's not a good time for you.
Not at all. Claude, though, gets picked up. Winnie, again, only he's played 2 heroes, and we'll stick to it. With the Harith banned out, there's only 1 hero in her pool. The Atlas comes around as well. Great choice, but to answer that question as well, I think it's also partly the speed, the tempo difference. Whenever Na'Vi go for the Boxer, they want it fast, they want it quick, they want to get those invades early to control the neutral objectives, get those early ganks. But on the Marcel, it'll be a delayed approach. They'll try to bait those resources out from Galaxy Phoenix first.
Actually, this was a tough choice for Na'Vi. With the Atlas on the other side, with the Marcel on the other side, you have to think about whether or not you want to pick up a Valentina for you, just so you can get that utility, and you don't get the chance to give the golden hour to Galaxy Phoenix if they want to pick the Valentina. So they said, you know what, let's see if we can give it difficulty at the center of the map. We'll pick up the Lilia instead, and they get the power pick in the Esmeralda.
And I understand it, you know, on the Valentina, you deny it away from Galaxy Phoenix, you don't give the golden hour away, you get a Fatal Links to play with as well if you pick up the Valentina. But I think right now it's all about survivability. That's why they build on the Marcel. They're doubling down on sustain, on delaying fights, and playing the long game, just because they know the Galaxy Phoenix tendencies, assassins. They want to go on assassins. They want to get in, get out real quick. If Na'Vi can lock them down in the team fight for a long period of time, this looks like the comp to do it with.
No junglers yet for either side. Let's see if Galaxy Phoenix will pick it here. And yeah, they do. They'll pick up the Akai, and might not be the best pick right now. I feel like the Valentina would have been a much better, even though the difficulty would provided the roam mid. I like the idea that they have the golden hour with them. That guy could have been something else, but let's see.
So going so far, from what I'm understanding, the side of Galaxy Phoenix, they want a quick game. They want to finish this strong and fast. Now for Na'Vi, though, they're okay with postponing the game, keeping it long. They want to play the slow game to counter the aggression of Galaxy Phoenix. Now for the last 2 heroes to be picked, though, could that change up?
It could. It really comes down to picking up the CC in the XP, but the thing is, Na'Vi were the first ones to do it, right? We see the Barats getting banned out as well, just taking it away from Keishi. It really feels like they've kind of swapped their playstyles. Galaxy Phoenix now have gone for the early approach, going for the neutral objectives with the Akai, and I agree with you, Redmar. I'm not a big fan of these picks, not because it doesn't work, but mainly it's because it's just so not Galaxy Phoenix.
There's something about it right now. It's like, are you trying to show them that you can play the same playstyle as them? But that's going against how you made it so far here in MWI. You showed off your own playstyle.
But also, is there a chance? Hey, it's semifinals. Grand finals is right there. They're knocking on the door. Have they been holding out this entire time?
I think if there's a time to show it, it should be now. It's a best of 5. You can come into the series slow. You don't need to go in guns blazing with your best picks. You could try to maybe get a win on some of the uncomfortable picks, you know, frustrate your opponents, deny some of these win conditions away. But again, for Na'Vi, it's the CC ban straight up. They do not want this Esmeralda to lose out on the lane.
Yeah, and with them taking that out. The gold lanes for Rian are slowly getting taken away. You still have the carry available, seeing that there's an Akai on the other side. I think Na'Vi has to consider banning out the Farsa of Sophia. That was one of the picks that gave a lot of difficulty. But then if you're going to be stuck with a carry, you have to consider, do I also ban out the Eve? It's a pick your poison type of deal, whether it's the Eve because it's better for the team fights or Farsa with the overall map presence. It's Navi's choice, really.
I'm thinking Eve right now. They need to get that carry, man. So many tanky boys here up for Galaxy Phoenix. They banned the Valentina instead. Something that can still be good, the Golden Hour, but I personally would take that risk going up against the Valentina, just giving the carry a little bit more range, because the Golden Hour, if taken by Galaxy Phoenix, could hurt them. They have an Akai and an Atlas. It's all about one moment. If they just mistimed the Golden Hour, miscoordinated that Golden Hour, it'll be quite tragic.
Yeah, right now it's like Na'Vi said, we don't want the choice, we'll give you the choice. You pick between the Eve or the Farsa, and they do go for the Farsa of Sophia. This is the pick that I saw with how she played it. It really stopped Na'Vi from being able to rotate around the map and take control of the river, so I understand why they would want to prioritize it. We did mention that the carry would be one of the best picks that Na'Vi could go for right now. It's not an Eve, but it's still going to be really difficult because now you have a choice. Are you going to go for the Flicker or are you going to go for the Purify? You pop your Purify against the Atlas, and Sophia still has a Feathered Airstrike. It's almost GG for the carry.
It looks a bit too good right now for Galaxy Phoenix. It doesn't look like Na'Vi have an answer, but we'll find out. Do they go for the Assassins? We mentioned it. Keishi can play the Assassins. They kind of need it right now. A little bit more damage to the backline or something that can threaten the back. Thing is, they don't have a Moskov anymore. The Claude's already denied away from them. They go for the Alice. Oh, we saw this in the jungle just yesterday, and it's a Bruno in gold. Not that carry, a little bit more versatility, and I guess, I don't know, it's not really the best of lanes now against the Claude. I think the carry is still better in lane, but the Bruno gets the job done when we're thinking about the main win condition, which is long team fights. You build up on those stacks, get the crits all over.
This is going to be a really demanding game for the Bruno. We talked about the carry and the difficulties it would have against those picks. Bruno, even more so.
Yeah.
So, Rian, now is your time to shine, to show off that you have gotten so much better since MWI 2024. You've improved over the years. GXP on the swing back, they have an EXP. I think, with the Alice, I think they also picked up the Alice later on, because I think they were thinking maybe a Yuzhang might pop up in the EXP lane. They're not going to be a lane matchup, but they did show it. Oh, they go for the Arlot instead.
And it's really good. I like the Arlot here with the Akai, with the Atlas, with even the Farsa. Everybody can really proc that Vengeance. So comes down to how they'll play it. It is all about execution.
It's Galaxy Phoenix versus Na'Vi. One team has been in the championship circle before.
Let's go.
Looking to make history, surprise everybody, and make it to the grand finals. Who is truly ready to rise above? It's Galaxy Phoenix versus Na'Vi. It's the knockout stage semifinals. Who's moving forward? Who's dropping down? Brigida Gideon, let's find out.
Thank you so much, Reflections. Here today, MWI is going to continue in the semifinals, is not going to disappoint here. We're kicking off this best of 5 immediately right from the get-go as we head on into the Land of Dawn to show you who is going to be the best. Both competitors have been set up perfectly by our studio, Brigida. And I don't know about you, but I was leaning over to GXP with their performance, and I know you're leaning into Na'Vi, but one of these teams are going to go home.
I really want to say I'm leaning into Na'Vi, but based on the performance that GXP has been showing us, I'm just pretty sure that this is going to be a tough task for them to overcome, to make it into the grand finals. We're taking a quick look at the emblems right now. Definitely, I have my eyes on the Farsa since we don't see it a lot, but this is looking like a very aggressive type, because even based on the flight paths that Sophia's been showing us on the Farsa, there are just times where she plays it so aggressively, and that's nice to see.
Personally, for me, it's really nice to actually see Farsa kind of come back into meta. Yes, she has the relevant damage, but it's that range that makes the marksman's lives difficult. So far, Rian and Winnie are going to have a very difficult game here overall. Remar put it the best, right? It's going to be so mechanically demanding, and also taking Master Assassin as part of the emblem set really goes to show that Rian, from beginning to end, wants to dominate.
Yep, and this is going to be such an interesting take too in the team fights, because they're all on Purifies apart from Keishi. So you know how difficult it is going to be because of how overwhelming the crowd control GXP actually had.
And that's actually the thing I wanted to talk about, right? When we're talking about ups and downs, pros and cons, Na'Vi for Purify sounds like a great idea. Who is going to be the one who engages? And I think they've only got one real answer for those long engages. But first, as we see, level 4 about to start, I want to see whether or not Keishi, can they back her up? Because you're going to need not Aya and Nami to join in on those engagements if they want to play the push and pull.
Yep. Because I think even the panel mentioned how extended team fights would be the go-to for Na'Vi. But GXP, would they even allow that? Would they even fight back? They tried to steal away that orange camp, but they don't actually take it away from Fa. Doesn't have the red tree though, but Na'Vi are still gonna get in this fight. That's the heavy spin. She secures the objective already. There goes the feathered airstrike as well. Not Ayanami, not looking good. Gets brought back with the final smash.
Nice.
Still alive.
Oh my G, Sophia.
Fa right now looking like the next target, and she goes down in the hands
No.
of Mirai. Lemma trying to go for the stun, but is not enough to save Fa. And it seems like Na'Vi have somewhat equalized the kills in terms of that fight.
So close, yet so far. Sophia finds the first trade, can't get the second, keep them in the profit zone. Right now, we're back to the neutral state, 1-1 with a slight goal lead on Na'Vi, and that's exactly what we were expecting, especially since GXP are the ones, hey, we have to be reliant. We have to depend on our big wombo combos. Na'Vi, yes, they've got combos, but they can kind of fight forever and ever and ever.
Yep. We were asking if GXP were willing to take that on because it seemed like they were very ultra-reliant. They had to really wait for those setups, those timings. But Na'Vi, even before the objective, really tried to force a reaction out of them just by visiting that orange jungle cap. So now we see the rotations from GXP, but Na'Vi, I think the way they've been managing their sides, they won't fall into any traps that GXP will be setting up anytime soon.
Well, not yet, at least, because so far, I think GXP has also understood, you know what? As much as we want to be the aggressors, technically, if we absorb the damage, especially from Kenshi and not Ayanami, that means Sophia can get a free feathered airstrike. And if that first interaction, first fight of this game looked like that to a 1-to-1 trade before Sophia has items, I can't imagine once we start getting into the 8 minutes, the 11 minutes, when she's going to one-shot some of these targets.
Which is exactly the time you expect Rian to also join, right?
And just pray, just please.
Just hope that it doesn't land on her. Because that's going to be, I think, the biggest problem if Na'Vi decides to switch up their playstyle a bit and decide to play around just creating space for Rian to either find the objectives and the targets, because really, honestly speaking, I think it's just Rian who could pull off all these structured takedowns at this point, looking at their lineup.
I think it's really difficult as well to deal with not only the Akai, but the Atlas, because you're thinking, all right, at least with Akai, you can buffer the flicker to kind of get out of awkward scenarios. But unfortunately, with the Atlas, it kind of gives you that guarantee. So now you don't have a choice of battle spell options. But we see the fight now starting to progress in final slashes. Golden Hour is out.
And the better airstrike too, as Keishi secures the second objective of the game. But look at how the heavy spin and the use at the same time. Pinning down two, but the follow-up doesn't seem to be there. GXP are just trying to run away, but Fa doesn't find that route.
That's exactly what Na'Vi wants to do. Break them apart. Make sure that they don't have the key components to this wombo combo all in the right spaces. That's why you're seeing, hey, trying to get the final slash idling, but most important, the golden hour doesn't necessarily have to land. It needs to influence position as the gank onto Ling commences.
Honestly, because even Lemma, I think, wanted to go for the backlines, but that golden hour meant so much. Ling up against two really tanky members. Can she actually handle this? There goes the stun from the feathered airstrike, but Keishi might go for the chase. Doesn't care about the feathered airstrike.
Yeah, really unfortunate there, but hey, you know, Alice without that flicker can't make those big plays just yet, but here comes the re-engagement from Ayanami's side. So far, Sophia has been doing some phenomenal damage in the earlier stages of the game, but look at the mid. She's been stuck up here for a while. Somebody needs to cover that.
And Lemma has been struggling so far to just actually get those targets or even just be a bully overall as the Atlas, because Mirai has been phenomenal as well. I think this is what you expect when the Marcel is open, which makes it really annoying at this point, and surprising to see. Actually, the first turret down bot has been already taken down, so this might allow Na'Vi to move a bit more around the map. But not when
เนี่ยมาของเคสเล่นของเคสเล่นเคสเล่น
And look, the casualties are going to keep on coming here. They even
Oh
drop
my.
they pull it back with a fatal links outside of the golden hour to
Man.
ensure the kill
Ôi, khăn này.
too. What an insane run, because with 10 seconds left on the clock, the turtle is going to show up. And right now, if Keishi can steal it, that's great, but I don't think this is a contestable scenario anymore.
Just as we were talking about how they could move a bit more around the map, GXP were the ones first to move and anticipate that rotation and switch from Rian as well as not Ayanami. What better way to set up for this upcoming objective, but Keishi as well will be nearby.
Oh, the Purifies are already out for Mirai alongside of Rian, and now they're going to 5v5 once more.
All right. Not Ayanami trying to zone. We don't see the setup come in from GXP just yet. Lemma with a perfect pair. But
ไปบ้านเนี่ย
onto Mirai. He's trying to run out, but the throne of ruin coming in from Keishi, just going straight for the back lines.
Okay, clap.
Ayanami forcing Sophia and Ling out. Rain just trying
ไหนใจสโลว์เลยนะ
to the P. Now able to find.
You don't want to be the one who always has to not only sit on top of the neutral, but I'm the only one who can actually stop the feathered airstrike. Somebody else needs to be in position, and unfortunately they don't have enough tanks to do that. So GXP making the high-level decision. If I just break the ankles of Mirai, then not Ayanami will have to reveal themselves, because unfortunately Alice, very linear hero. You know exactly when she's going to engage.
Yeah, there was nothing stopping GXP from just staying in the fight when they already popped that Purify from Mirai. And it's not like they had enough time to reset as well, because they had to deal with the threat of GXP just going straight for the objective. But this is a very fast rotation down bot. Not Ayanami and Keishi sense it, but I believe that'll probably create a bit more of space for Winnie, who's kind of struggled here in the bottom lane for the longest time.
Yeah, but at least, you know, in terms of EXP, she's not too far off, right? They're still level 10 to level 10. I mean, obviously there is a death at the end, but on that top side, they're not slowing down. Navi's using the macro well, and even making sure they're soaking up EXP and gold in the mid lane.
Oh, the damage coming
Oh,
in
why no?
from
Why?
Winnie is actually starting to hurt. Feather's right in the face! Right in front of these members of Navi. They were very unafraid to actually show themselves like that.
Yeah, I mean, it does mean that not Ayanami has to go for a recall here, but they can look to recontest the position. Now, in the mid lane, we see that at least from Rian's side. And I love the fact that they're trying to show information in different ways. Like, oh, hey, we actually want to put a lot of focus. Wait, hold on. Was that the final slash already being used? No, Ling still has it. But there is going to be a moment sooner or later where we're expecting GXP to start attacking structures. And the one that I'm looking at, mid-tier 1. That's such an important turret to get rid of.
Yep. And it's such a big problem for Navi. The way that Sophia has been untouched despite all their attempts, despite Keishi's attempts, and unknowingly GXP taking advantage of that to also cover other areas across the map. So it seems like Navi at this point, you don't really know who your attention should really fall onto. Is it going to be really Winnie or Sophia, who's been winning out huge on this early game and been very dominant in terms of her playstyle? Because as much as Mirai gets the information, she's just too well protected on the far side.
Yeah, I have to agree. And they don't really have too many ways to kind of break them out of it. I'm trying to think of what would the order of the fight look like in order to get an upper hand against GXP. Either they get massive value out of Keishi, but I think for now, it's up to Rain. And if Rain gets blasted every single time by the Feather Airstrike and forced to fight early, it might not necessarily be good. Oh, this engagement!
There's no golden hour left. GXP are just gonna go for it. The heavy spin hasn't been committed, but the Throne of Ruin stuns too! Ling falls down, the Accumulator is gone, so is the Roamer. It's a double for Keishi. The best possible setup before this First Lord.
That's exactly what we were looking for, and Rain able to find these really big assists, making sure those Gloom stacks are nice and high to start eating away at the members of GXP's front line. And that's what we want to see here. Both Navi and GXP now finding solutions to the problem, but with Lord spawning in Navi's favor, this 2.2k lead is only going to extend further as Mirai, unfortunately here, has to back away. But Winnie, can they catch her? I don't think they have enough damage to intercept her midway.
Yeah. She will get back safely. They have to deal with the Lord marching up top too. But as you mentioned, GXP, they're just really holding on to this mid turret. That's so much map control that Na'Vi could actually take for themselves if ever they let that go. But things are looking very favorable for them. It's ballooning to an almost 3k gold lead. And GXP have to split themselves up, but you would expect them to just really take advantage of their team fight potential, but at this point, Na'Vi are not fighting them head on in terms of that.
Yeah, I think this is pretty good from both sides. GXP doesn't have full information on where Na'Vi is, so they're trying to probe and prod around to figure out where they are, and Na'Vi purposely denying them that information, hoping that Sophia tries to use a feathered airstrike in a predictable area to clear those waves. Now GXP looking to take that space back in hopes that maybe Na'Vi is just a little sloppy, but both sides have been very, very clean. They back away nicely, and despite the score being 4-5, a 2.9k lead is pretty good for someone like Rian.
Yeah, but it's a bit more time for you to expect GXP to actually be much more equipped to fight back against Na'Vi. I think earlier on, though, we saw Winnie sort of already start to shred majority of the HP from Keishi and not Ayanami. But the thing is, they don't really have enough time over to Winnie to just deal with these targets one by one. If she ever does go in with a blazing duet, she has to be sure that it's perfect. But Na'Vi are the first ones to go in. The heavy spin catches Mirai though. There goes a vengeance coming in from Ling. They try to take them out one by one, but Keishi, does she go in with her response? Another final slash coming in. They drag Keishi back under the turret, but it's actually Mirai who finds, or who is the target.
Yep, and this costed them a lot of battle spells. This isn't over just yet because Fa's going to be the next one to fall down here with not much of an issue overall. This was how many flickers? 3 flickers. The Fatal Links comes in. Final Slash is going to pull them under. I don't think they're going to... Wait, hold on. The Feathered Airstrike might be good for something as they walk out even with a Wishing Lantern. It ain't enough.
The damage from Sophia
Cuma
can
Bruno
be
biar Pak Lei
felt,
pun.
but the abilities, the escape tools from Na'Vi are also just a bit too much to deal with. Sophia just using the wings by wings to move around. Ling trying to go for a re-engage, but that's going to be Keishi immediately making her way out.
All right, so the mid lanes are actually playing a significantly huge role in this game. Rain, making sure those front lines wanting to do the exact same thing Sophia does without having that same backline threat. They're attacking Lima, they're attacking Fa. If Ling walks up too far, then you know they're trying to go for a full-on counter-engage. But let's look at the items, because again, Ling playing with the War Axe of all things, trying to make sure that she's more of a bruiser in these fights rather than a dedicated tank. But on the opposite end, the infinite scaling of Mirai here, man, that Thunderbelt is going to stack up fast.
The Rose Gold Meteor even for Ling, like the way she's just probably after those setups and being one of those members to dive in and be in their face, but Na'Vi are trying to already poke down this Lord. The waves up top too have to be dealt with. Oh, but Fa actually finds one! It's gonna be Keishi, the best possible target. Golden R used just to stop them momentarily, but Winnie has her eyes set on this target. Blazing Duet already committed, and they find the jungler for Na'Vi. She also finds Mirai. It's only 3 members left, but the BMI brings her back. Now they're able to actually regroup, and Rian will at least find one, but Winnie still trying to find all the damage from Sophia!
Ooh, holy shit,
Too
man.
much to handle here. Rain looking to actually try and turn this around, but I think, honestly, they should not fight. They're going to get hit by everything. The final slash, feathered airstrike as well.
Oh, Rian actually still fights one despite that, but was it actually worth it?
This was not worth it. They should have called off the fight at that point. They already traded equally. They didn't need to overextend even further, and this now ends up to be a +1 for GXP. I get it. The mid lane looks like it's about to start crashing in, and if you just delay the fight any longer, it would have been good, or maybe an endgame scenario. But keep in mind, right now, everybody's getting close to level 15. Sophia, currently, with the highest amount of damage, they have to be aware that the feathered airstrike is the nuclear option.
Honestly, even her first 2 skills already deal massive amounts of damage, even towards the tankiest members of Na'Vi. So I guess it's a small win for them that they finally actually got that base turret in mid, but GXP are still going to be confident enough, especially with Flying Clouds, to just keep moving in and out of their base and around the map to make sure that the wave control doesn't get as bad.
Speaking of wave control, we can already see that GXP they don't want first position on this Lord. They want Na'Vi to sit on top of it. But this allows Rain to actually start setting up those Gloom stacks. They're rushing it fast. Fog makes the attempt.
Oh, can Fa actually make it in time though? Heavy's been already.
Nice. Oh my god.
The retribution, the Lord falls into the hands of GXP, and now they're just
Bye, bye,
after
bye, bye,
the
bye,
counter
bye, 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 bye,
engages.
bye.
There goes Keishi. They find Sophia. It's finally a shutdown, but Ling takes down not
Cloud, 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 cloud.
Keishi's a bit too tanky to be dealt with, and Ling is just trying to run away and survive.
Oh,
That War Axe is coming very handy here. Look at the spell vamp. Keishi now once again is going to try their attempt to slow down these waves. It's a wet noodle fight. Nobody can really hurt each other. The main damage dealers on both sides are by far the most important players.
And that damage dealer from GXP doesn't care. They just really want to even out the map. That's why Winnie's been working on the outer turrets that are left. Keishi, well, we did expect her to make it out of that. She just walks back to the turret, but they still have a Lord to deal with, and possibly GXP could really even out the map control at this point.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested to see the items in just a little bit here, but for now, GXP just maintaining control. Full item build here, and even boots being sold by Winnie. Wants to get the extra little bit of power with the Wind Talker. Same can be said for a lot of people, but interestingly enough, we're seeing that Sophia actually opting to go for a Wishing Lantern here on top of everything else. I would have imagined that the Lightning Truncheon would have been the go-to, noticing that I don't see any Athena Shield, just Radiant Armors maximum or Oracles for the side of Na'Vi.
All right, they still have waves coming in mid. But Na'Vi too are prepared to take this on. All Purifies will be available, but the Feathered Airstrike is already enough to zone them all out. Fortunately, their wave clear seems reliable enough because they have the Lilia, they have the Bruno, so they're able to push GXP out and they don't get any base turret.
I'm surprised that they didn't want to try and force something. Their composition with the Farsa is particularly good at sieging against their targets, right? They could have used the heavy spin to kind of push them away. Maybe, you know, have Ling stand in the corner and make it look like, oh, I could flicker and pull you guys back into the team. Just their presence alone should make Na'Vi nervous, right? Or force reaction out of them.
Yeah. So far, at least, too, I think Na'Vi, we don't really get to see them utilize the Golden Hour differently, in a sense that it's more onto certain targets rather than them just creating space, or as you mentioned, maybe just breaking formations. And maybe at this point in the game, that might be a bit of help, because it's either they just really want to block off certain entry points or want to add to how they don't get to further chase, which I feel don't make it as targeted in terms of approach.
I think the hard part about it is because before this we had like multiple outer turrets, so it's easier to kind of like funnel them into the jungle. But now that we have a little bit of a free form on the map, GXP, they want to play their traditional front to back while still having potential flankers like Ling. Na'Vi, on the other hand, I'm not so sure, because Mirai's position is very flexible overall. Yeah. They don't have a dedicated anchor, and I think the closest we can get to that quote-unquote dedicated anchor is Rian, because even with the black shoes, where are they going to end up? Right next to Rian.
Yeah. So we're setting up for this next objective, and I believe this is an evolved Horde. Can't believe we're almost 20 minutes in.
Hey, these girls, they don't want to lose just yet. They want to show the best possible performance in a best of 5.
You have to, especially as you're already in the semi-finals. So we'll see how they deal with this. Waves definitely have to take priority first, especially in the far lane. But Keishi and Rian, I think they will be trying to start things off a bit. They do get a bit of vision for not.
They're
forcing everything now, but Fa is starting to feel a brunt of the damage. Gets caught into Golden R, but gets to walk away! Mirai now has to purify out, but Keishi as well as everybody else are trying to go in. They finally find Fa, one of the best possible targets. And look at Nami dealing with Sophia. And the rest of Na'Vi just clear out the front lines one by one.
Oh no, they missed out the opportunity.
No.
They forced it a little too hard, and now Ling will try her very best to just delay.
Trời.
Repositioning out, but Rian has 2 minions by her side. She will be here too. Immortality already popped.
No way.
Mirai goes down. They don't want to risk it.
Oh no, she just used her cooldowns. The next wave is already here. It's too late.
And now it's Na'Vi taking game number 1 after 20 minutes. of back and forths.
This was a high-level game. Both sides really taking everything into account, from movements to body language to, most importantly, I think that they need to start memorizing purified timers.
Hello guys.
Actually are. Even if there are 3 seconds left on that cooldown, you can still force that fight. It's moments like these where the lines get thinner and the level of execution must be high.
Navi, after a very unexpected run, now the momentum really seems to be on their side.
It really looks good. And personally for me, I don't know if any one of these teams are going to need that extra motivation, that extra push. But this is only our very first game, and it's this intense. It's only going to heat up from this point onwards. We're going to be throwing it back soon over to our studio, as our ladies are going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure it out for game number 2 right after these messages.
Welcome back in. Game
repositioning out, but Ryan has 2 minions by her side. She will be here too. Immortality already popped. Mirai goes down. They don't want to risk it. Oh no, she just used her cooldowns. The next wave is already here. It's too late. And now it's Navi taking game number 1 after 20 minutes of back and forth. High-level game.
Cả chân ơi rẽ sai lầm là từ còn tại mình nên nơi xanh trắng ngày nào và nét cái Oh baby, I love your happiness. តែ plan ចិញ្ចោមិនចេះតែបបួលខ្ញុំទៅសិចខ្ញុំដល់ចេញនៅមែនទេ Let's go let's do it តែ plan ចិញ្ចោមិនតែចេះតែ
Đây mày Bùm chọc Anh cả tạp ấy nè ơi bướng mà trong hào một đứa nó đặt luôn sao anh cả tạp ấy nè ơi một tụi tray sao cả tạp bơm đó rồi về ta đi chạy bàn ta đó chạy tôi có bạn còn với tôi chạy có chị tôi có bạn thành cái chị
Cậu đã lên cho still online still online trong this still cry cool
hello teammate tách khô thế này still cry cool tí nhóc tách khô tôi đây nhỉ tôi thấy still cry cool bạn giấy đi cái hái cái cái vải em không cho cái đằng này mấy nhưng mà cái đằng này mấy em đi thật
sao vậy
vậy bên
Let's go let's do it how that the plan
Just the first for MLBB. The MWI has been electric, and we are nearing the end. Tomorrow will be grand finals time, but you've got to get through your matchup respectively if you want to make it to the grand finals. Who's it going to be? Right now, Na'Vi currently has a 1-0 lead in this best-of-5 series, forcing Galaxy Phoenix to answer back.
Yep. And the answer has to be simple. Just again, similar to what Na'Vi experienced throughout MWI leading to this point. Remember who you are. I don't mind if a team tries to get out of their comfort and tries to do something different, because you need to show that flexibility, especially at this point. But it felt a little bit too far from what they're used to.
But Miracle, honestly, even though their hero selection was too far from what they're used to, speaking in regards to Galaxy Phoenix, I felt that game 20 minutes long. It went a bit back and forth. I still felt they did incredibly well. So if they go back to their bread and butter, I think this matchup could be very difficult for Na'Vi.
I think so too, you know, because the way they did it, the way they flexed that hero pool of theirs, they also did it in a way where it denied a lot of the big picks, like the Akai away from Na'Vi, who, again, have been thriving around these Akai picks, these high-tempo, early-game compositions. Thing is, though, Na'Vi know how to adapt even with the Assassins. I think they're coming into this tournament thinking about the Assassins already. So if we can see them go and improv their way into a Game 1 victory, having their picks denied, I think they'll do pretty well here, even if GXP get on those Assassins.
We go from Flying Cloud now to Dangerous Grass.
Low, my check.
If ever Galaxy Phoenix does decide to go back to Assassins, and if they tweak their draft priorities a little bit, that Atlas and Akai pick, I love it. But it felt like they were just trying to block off Na'Vi from being able to get something that they want instead of playing around what they want themselves. It's not the worst composition in the world. At the end of the day, they still got their comforts in the Farsa and Claude. They allowed Ling and the XP Arlot to do what she does best, but that little missing sauce actually ruined the dish.
Exactly. It's not that it's a bad composition. It's just not GXP, especially now in MWI where we've been talking about how each team have their own identities. I think we need to stick a bit more to that, especially now that they're behind in the series. Na'Vi, comfortable, banning out the Marcel, knows it's a crazy
my check.
GXP, they take away the Phobias and the Boxers, so it's more on the same
Low.
They still want to take away these early game dominant heroes from neutral objectives away from Na'Vi.
Seems like we're going to be getting a potential rush for either a Paquito if the Esmeralda's gone or a Freya for GXP, which would be a little bit more towards the GXP playstyle for Ling, although no Freya game just yet for her, but if I'm not mistaken, it does constantly get banned out by their opponents.
So the Guinevere gets banned out again, Na'Vi. Wouldn't be too surprised if they even ban out the Beleric together with the Guinevere, but I think at this point it's okay.
Yeah,
right?
you can let one through. You've already banned one of the other main components.
The Harith gets banned out, and honestly, this might be a GXP first pick Claude, knowing that usually when they do this, they need the Claude to be picked up. If they don't go for the Claude, I'll be very happy taking that away from who's only played Claude and Harith. The Beleric still gets banned out by Na'Vi. They just don't like Lemma on these kind of roams.
It's a great playstyle for GXP as a whole once they get that Beleric. A little bit braver knowing that the fighting them gives them more damage. Sora rush right away. This is a bit of a throwback and a little too far back.
Yeah, the Sora first pick, it's been good so far in this tournament.
Yes, it has been. And at one point, it had a 100% win rate yesterday until Vitality shut that down. Ling on Sora could be pretty deadly.
Could be, but I think Na'Vi, they can have, plenty of answers to the Sora, right? They can go for the CC and the XP, wins down in lane against the Sora. They could go for the Arlet that does well against the Sora, the Paquito as well. But first things first, you take away.
Ngayon.
They're gonna get that Ling, and they will get the hill, the dangerous grass. After all,
Oh baby, I love
this is gonna have a really good look for the early to mid. Honestly, when you have a Sora in the XP and then a Hilda in a roam, there's a good chance you'll be able to help your Ling farm comfortably. It's just that how will it look like once it gets to the fights? GXP, they can get the farm, but if the Ling is uncomfortable during the team fights, okay, it's not just gonna be uncomfortable in team fights, it could be also uncomfortable just trying to roam around the map with a chip, which Na'Vi finally got to make work yesterday.
Oh god, so they take the Claude and the Lilia. They want to have these vulnerable backliners, the vulnerable backliners that can actually escape. Yeah. But then you add a chip into it, so you already deal with the kill threat. Now you deal with that macro control that you have with the Ling, with the chip. There's no way for Fa to just rotate around and get those leads the way she's able to all this time in MWI. She has to play it safe, and more importantly, she has to snowball from the get-go.
Yeah, directly and indirectly answering the Ling, whether
Họ ta đã
it's
play
through
trên
the
cho
individual
Manchester.
1v1s, if you look at the hero pieces, or the overall composition as a whole. Now, with that safe, this gives a lot of room for flexibility for Na'Vi in terms of what kind of heroes they want in the EXP and jungle, depending on what you see for the last two picks. I think for Na'Vi, they'd want to maybe consider picking up their EXP first and then just adjust your
Họ
jungle
ta đã
pick
play
for
trên
last,
cho
so you get
Manchester.
the best one possible.
And I'm thinking of those picks in the jungle. What's still up for Na'Vi? I mean, there's plenty up. I'm thinking of the Akai instantly. That's why I thought the Akai would be red 3. Flex it, roam jungle. The chip hasn't really seen too much screen time here at MWI, but they certainly have a plan. Usually when you go for this kind of composition, it's like a Masha in XP. Yeah. With a Fredrin in jungle. Now the Fredrin has lost a lot of
Chứ mà lấy cái Linh là Linh à, Linh sai vậy.
to the nerfs onto him, but I wouldn't actually
Linh là sai mẹ.
Yeah, but I think the clear sign is there. If they ban out the carry, then they're most likely setting up for the Fredrin and the potential Masha pick, which Ayanami has already shown. So that route is open. Let's see if Galaxy Phoenix senses it and take out the Fredrin, meaning that the pool gets even smaller here for Na'Vi in the jungle.
It could also be Barats.
Oh, right, yeah, Barret's is still here. Yeah. There's no more option of you potentially going up against something like an X-Borg jungle. You already see the Ling. Yeah, I think Barret's would be perfect here, honestly, for Na'Vi. And with Galaxy Phoenix already showing their cards at the jungle, then there's not going to be a lot of counters left for it unless you pick up, like, what, a Lunox in the mid? But then you're up against a Lilia.
That's why it really just seems like Na'Vi have it all covered. The Fredrin gets banned out again. I think Na'Vi shouldn't be in any rush to pick up the Barats, but they shouldn't be in any rush to pick up a crazy pick for not Ayanami and XP as well. So just comes down to what they want to reveal first. Do they want to reveal the Barats or the Masha first?
Yeah, it's preference at this point. Because of the wide pool of not Ayanami, they have so much options to go for. And I think that's the main discussion right now.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, Freya is still open. That's why we thought earlier Freya would be picked up in the very first pick for Galaxy Phoenix.
Well, okay then.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be too surprised if they just go and pull a crazy Leomord Freya. It's been a while since we've seen Leomord, but you know, those nerfs has hit him. But with this kind of composition, it fits.
Yeah.
Just go all in.
Leo Freya, then you add the chip there. I think if you want macro, would I be too mad at the low Yi pick right now for GXP? Team fighting wise could make it difficult once they get out of the chip portal. Plus the Freya is there for the constant pulls. They go for Sophia on the Selena. They ran for comfort instead. It is very mechanically demanding to make this work, but it's one of those things where if the arrows hit, it's great. If the arrows don't, kind of GG.
I wouldn't even be too mad if they just run it back on the Alice jungle again.
Yeah, that could work out too because of the very close to mid-range nature of the composition of Galaxy Phoenix for team fighting. Alice, the Throne of Ruin, is going to stop the tempo of the team fights. That could give a little bit more space for their Claude and their Lilia.
Yeah, just lock them down for the AoE damage to come through. And it's the Bauman. Oh, physical shred, physical defense shred with a Freya and a Claude.
Ouch. This lineup just screams like it hurts. They have a good amount of crowd control. Not direct crowd control, but this is very damage focused. We know Galaxy Phoenix, very mechanically focused.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. Mechanically focused, the underdogs must once again fight back to protect their tournament life. They've still got a bit more leeway since it's a best of 5, but not much if Na'Vi can take this next map and lead 2-0. After all, they're already up 1-0. Again, I raised a question. Who's ready to rise on? Let's find out at map number 2 between Galaxy Phoenix versus Na'Vi. Brigida, Gideon, take it away.
As we head on into the land of Dawn, the first statement has been set. Na'Vi take the first match here as we look towards GXP's response to that. How do they turn things around? How are they going to adapt in this upcoming game? Because right now, the draft doesn't seem to be in their favor. And here at level 1, Rain and Mirai are already telling Lilia that first blood is already in our pockets.
Oh, this Lilia on Na'Vi has been doing so much. Ever since game number 1, another stunning potential kill if only Sophia gets to walk out, but no. It's an early 2-0 for Rain on this Lilia.
Too early, and honestly, the fact that they've already gotten everything that they need, it's starting to snowball already. And I was expecting GXP to be that guy. Woman who takes them all out. Even Mirai, confident, doesn't even have to flicker, recognizes that, Lima, you don't have the base damage. I'm a full level ahead of you.
And how does that change the conditions for GXP? Because you're no longer on equal footing. You no longer have to anticipate whether or not the early comes out from these arrows or not, because they're already at an advantage. Mirai will get out of this. Still some glooms left. It's tough for the mid duo of GXP.
It already feels like Rain is asking the rest of her teammates, just hold my earrings. I'll do the rest. Don't worry, Mirai. Just open up that map and I'm going to hurt them big time. And with that passive, heals right back up to full. So great control as they freeze that mid lane. They're starting to lean out of it as they want to attack the top side.
Okay, not Ayanami, just going in for the dive. The turrets, but Mirai will be the one to finish the job. They actually find.
I think this game is starting to look pretty doomed. Pretty doomed very early on, because this has to be by far one of the most heretical starts. Like, this is blasphemous to people in Mobile Legends. The first 2 minutes, we're already having 3 kills on the side of Na'Vi, all centralized towards the most important roles in King and Fa.
Okay, fortunately, an Abyssal Arrow does land over there. Sophia trying to type, but it's an outplay. Everything has just not been going their way every single attempt. And now Na'Vi might just take away this purple buff even from Fa, who's not even level 4 yet.
I'm getting the vibes back. This is why everybody was so excited for Assassin. Oh! And Ling able to
Hey, I'm killing.
that has happened already. The extra assist from Ayanami just wasn't enough.
Okay, that's a bit of a glimpse of hope for GXP right there. At least they get some trades one way or another through the EXP lane, but how else? Because even here in this jungle camp, you just could not farm as peacefully. Fa could barely get the EXP that's necessary. It's a 2-level gap.
This is so dirty. This is particularly dirty. Keiji knows how to play this Balmond, or has at least gotten all the tips and tricks. You're using a lethal counter. You're also trying to contest with Retribution. It's just an easy way to steal camps at a high rate against your opponent, and just ever telling them, yo, fear this. Shortcut connects.
Oh. How could they do this? They're just everywhere. Mirai, fortunately for GXP, they don't actually lose Winnie out there, but does it actually become an opening? Now they get to find a kill. Fa finds Mirai. 10 Pistol Blades already committed, but they don't want to fight around a spinning Balmond.
No, they don't have the items, they don't have the damage. Wing, does he cancel it? No, they're just gonna set up this dive.
Oh, it's Sophia left all alone, trying to escape. Abyssal Arrow does land, but he's just gonna buy some time.
Yeah, just again, really elusive here. Unless Rain or Keishi can actually apply some kind of movement speed slow, it's just going to be an ever taxed jungle. It's just Navi's walking in and they're like, hey, you owe me money. Interest, pay up.
This is so tough. It's always Mirai plus another one. Oh, but a
Wait, Nia.
from Link towards not Ayanami. Navi fail, or they actually do take. No, they don't. They don't take away the purple buff for the second time, and at least for Fa, they're slowly able to keep up bit by bit.
Yeah, but it just means that Retribution is going to be down. Not like Balmond really cares whether Ling has Retribution or not, but generally speaking, this has been a pretty tough game. I'm looking towards Ling's side of the map. How can they get Ling involved? Because unluckily, the turtle is spawning down on the bottom side. They're forced to get Ling back in, and not Ayanami. No flicker. Has already gotten solo kill twice. Wants to shove that top side, and Na'Vi understand this. Let's slow it down.
Okay.
Wait for the shortcut.
Understandably so, you see Ling here, but Mirai has an idea as well.
Ooh.
I thought that was gonna land too. Mirai didn't necessarily try to catch it, but they lose out big on energy shields up top. GXP are the ones actually leashing this turtle towards their side.
Tao phải qua 10 ván bấy.
Not Ayanami, they probably would have very little ways to
Nia. Trời mà.
The teleportation's coming in from Mirai. Do they want to fight this? Rain does show up.
Ê, đó xong
Goes in with a blazing duet, landing it on 3, forcing out the flicker from Winnie, and actually finding one.
Cắt chiêm.
But Sophia escapes.
Oh, wait, hold on. Ling might be in some trouble, and now they can set up for a potential dive. Sophia's nearby and will peel, but Ling can only do so much.
Trời, sao là nãy em nói nữa.
They really want this turret. Not Ayanami still going for it, but B2! Both had to flicker out.
God bless. Flicker saves lives, people. Flicker saves lives. These flickers happen essential for their escapes. 5 to 6, however, structural damage has already been applied. Na'Vi making sure that the bottom side has been cut. Now they're going to send Rian towards the top side to break that other tier 1. But I would have imagined at some point Na'Vi might want to start double waving with this Claude.
So far, it's good either way. They're 3-0 on this Claude. The participation has been massive for them every single time we get to see a team fight. But someone who hasn't been really participating as much is Keishi. But right now we might actually see that happen as they lay down another portal.
Trời ơi.
And it's not looking great.
Yep, it's not safe. The river is not a safe space to walk in, and I think definitely GXP need to start opening up this map, or Sophia needs to start. Oh god.
Oh. You thought you were safe.
I thought you were safe, to be fair.
Yeah, but there was a chip trying to intercept you from behind, and a lethal counter too in your face. There's not much you could expect from a Hilda at this point, no matter how much she tries to open up the map. Na'Vi are just at the most unexpected places possible.
Yeah, I think that GXP, unless they get some clean wombo combos like they did in their previous fight around that second turtle, It's not gonna be easy. Definitely not. Like Faz is probably going to get solo killed by Ayanami if he takes a prolonged fight against them. So at this stage, oh, another shortcut.
Winning again.
Trời Mirai ơi, cái đuổi ma kìa.
Having a good time. The first time we see her on a Bruno and she has to go through all of this.
It's just constant pressure. Constant execution. Oh wait, they don't actually take it back. They realize and recognize the top side is actually where a majority of the resistance is coming from GXP. They should know the purple buff is up, and here they come on the run.
Not Ayanami leading the charge, forcing out the Tempest of Blades. Now they are forced to just get back. There's
Cắt xíu này, mới free trái, bằng cắt xíu này.
but that's just about it. Navi are not really gonna stop the pressure from coming.
They're gonna try though. Oh. X on towards the back line. However, Ling unfortunately can't seem close to distance. Didn't want to commit the flicker as well, but they've got battle spells out of Na'Vi. And honestly, at this stage of the game with a 3.8k lead at 8 minutes, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, at least if you look at it from the perspective of having a Ling on your lineup, you could play around the map a bit more, but just how could you? If Na'Vi keep forcing these kinds of fights and just surprises all over, at least for now, Faz trying to stay composed by doing exactly what we mentioned, but even Keishi is just a bit too quick to expect what's about to happen from GXP.
Yeah, just a little too fast, and now here we come. Send the Valkyries into it. Oh, cloud shift though!
Oh, the cancels. Riyadh having to get away from that. Not Ayanami.
Nice.
And she could not take
Mà cloud này nè.
one. Raid eventually shows up with a flicker. Winnie too having to dash away at Mirai.
Tiết hả, nó lock vào đi, Bruno.
That's the fourth time we see them take down the gold laner.
Target priority here. No time being wasted by Mirai. It's like, all right, I see my low target. I know exactly what I want to do. And this lead now, as we pull up the item list, we're already seeing fleeting time completed. 9 minutes pretty early on with rapid boots as well. Explains why, not only with the passive, why Mirai is so fast. Okay, Faz okay. Thank goodness. Like, it couldn't get worse from this point on. Don't worry, that purple buff was always Navi's.
It was always Navi's anyway. Yep. But I wonder who else is not safe. Winnie yet again.
Thôi, Bruno anh ngọc phèm bò qua đấy. Trời ma này.
I don't think they will get the value out of it. They'll just lose out on more and more members. Ling falling down as well. There might be one trade, and that's going to be Riyadh.
Này Linh em.
They can't scale. They don't have enough EXP to stay above them. Even Mirai having a full level ahead of Lima. The early game is completely gone, and technically this is where we're expecting Fa to start really picking up the slack for the rest of the team. However, with such a big lack of and an interception from Mirai, what are you supposed to do?
She had another ultimate available.
Fleeting time, what can I say? It's a good item, especially when you're this far ahead.
I was just trying to fly over from one wall to another, and all the while that was happening, it was a free objective over to Na'Vi as well. Just look at the goal difference already existing, as at least it's not that far behind, but the gold lane, I think, is where you feel it the most.
Well, I want to say it's not only just the gold lane, but at the same time, I think that the fact that this Chastised Pauldron is already built for Mirai, I think at this point, Chip can get disrespectful, right? I don't think anybody has enough damage to kill him, and even if they do, the Chastised Pauldron passive will just keep him healthy. So at this point, Mirai, look at them, literally just having a tour.
Yeah. Just doesn't mind those bits of damage you get to receive from Lema as the only person who could possibly walk up and not get bursted down by Na'Vi, not unless they just go full commit. But now they have more and more waves coming in, not Ayanami showing up as well. Lema just trying to scout where they are. They pretty much have information of what to expect, and that's still not enough for them to go and try to engage against Na'Vi, because even in the damage department, would you consider Winnie to even have enough damage already?
Not yet. I mean, not even a Berserker's Fury. That's what we're talking about, right? Literally a Haas buff. So he has to sit there and wait for it to come back as Na'Vi take the initiative to start putting more structural damage.
Yep, they're keeping the pressure, and now it's Lema who, for the first time, actually gets bursted down, has to flicker out of that. Worldy already committed as well, but they're just trading space. They want this space to There's the setup coming in from Ling, but she had to go down alongside with it.
They actually make this an endgame scenario. No, they still are able to kill it off. And luckily on the opposite end, Fa was able to pick up a purple buff for herself. Yeah.
Yay, finally.
it's still a rough game.
It's an exchange of a base turret.
Yeah, it's like, man, not the best in the world, but hey, we take what we can get, and luckily the team, they really need these minions. Like, splitting the gold at this point of time is probably not ideal. Like, Fire understands, you know what, even though I don't have as much gold, it's important that I stay even in EXP against Keishi.
Yep, and these placements, these traps are becoming more and more important. Fortunately for them, they have that tool, but I don't think they've been able to maximize it as well. Ooh, Fa! She tried to take that away, but it was still Keishi who got it.
Yeah, they're still going to be dancing around for a little bit, and I don't know if they've checked. No. Fifth time! Fifth time!
They didn't check, Winnie! Fortunately, had the flicker, and Ling was there too, ready to protect. But that's the thing, they forced out the flicker. We only have about 12 seconds before the next Lord.
I mean, they're conditioning them, right? They're conditioning them every single time, and I think that GXP need to start setting some real protocols here. This has happened way too many times. You cannot expect Winnie to always have her flicker available. And now Na'Vi is in such a powerful position. They're going to have only 2 members actually deal with this Lord while everybody else is on guard duty.
Not Ayanami holding the bottom side, Mirai just standing there. Look at this, look at this. She has the immortality too. I think Fa will be okay though, yeah.
Especially when you have iframes, you're just so unimportant as a priority target for a chip. I could not figure out a better way of saying that. You just don't want to deal with that, right? You want Winnie, you want people who can get punished by this. Arguably even Lima as well, but that's only if that flicker is down. And knowing that Winnie has been losing her flicker consistently every single minute it comes back on, I think that so far Mirai is ready to start trading. Maybe even not even hiding, just flickering into the middle of them.
And just putting up the portal right then and there, but that forces out the Tempest of Blades from Fa. Won't even be confident enough to deal with the cut as well, but Lima, together with Sophia, are decently dealing a bit of damage already towards Mirai. I think that's a bit of a win.
It is a win, and I don't think Na'Vi is getting as much value as they wanted to, right? They now desync the waves that they were trying to prepare.
Linh chưa vậy?
Oh, but every single member of Na'Vi just jumps in to make sure that Fa goes down and doesn't get a hold of her purple buff yet again.
The chain CC was a little too good, or maybe the fixed points came up a little too late. Either way, Na'Vi is going to be starting to crash down on every single one of these inhibitors.
Was that a bit too expensive of a kill for GXP, but Na'Vi are not going to risk it just yet. They're not going to try to go for the end, and they will fully respect GXP right under their base, but there is another wave coming in mid. It's going to crash really, really soon, and that's a lot of space created. Ling only finding one, but Rian only has her eyes on the turret, and the lethal counter! Finding
Nãy vô rồi nó chơi nè.
shut down towards Keishi, but will that be enough? A missile arrow landing onto Rian!
Nice.
And that could have been the game-changing play right here for GXP.
Trời ơi, nó to rồi.
Already starting to get really, really low, and another free hit from Winnie.
Ghê. Nice.
But she cannot.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. As Renmar mentioned, the arrow, it just needs to hit. Once that arrow connects, there's so much more you can do with it. And this time, despite GXP showing just a sliver of hope here, Na'Vi have already taken out 3 of their inhibitor turrets. The macro is
Mà cái này melee giá vãi đấy nha.
once the next Lord spawns, and Na'Vi, they don't mind it. You got that first shutdown, fine, that's on us. But look at this replay, right? The conceal, you're making sure getting pushed out of the way, but this engagement coming in from Ling initially was looking good until they got executed. However, you see the mistake come right about, oh no! They timed it out before the arrow was about to be thrown, but even so you can tell the frustration on Na'Vi's face.
Yeah, but it was just a pixel away until we weren't able to see it. But you know what happened at that moment. It was an unfortunate sequence for Na'Vi, even as they just tried to really attempt for an end angle. And now let's see how they play around with their positionings once again, because they have been placing these traps around the areas where Mirai is really expected to just show up, even throwing them out just to ensure that they will have enough information. So that's GXP really playing it safe, but is Fa gonna be safe up top? She's having to deal with not Ayanami.
I mean, Fa unfortunately just literally cannot 1v1 this Freya. Not without that Bruno. Not like how we saw it earlier. And worse yet, Na'Vi, this is what we call the chokehold. Like, how do you even win this scenario? No matter what you do, Mirai can catch you with the shortcut, and which they're about to see right now.
Tempest of Blades used right before the portal gets laid down, and Mirai will no longer try to go for the chase. But that was really smart from Na'Vi as well. Okay, wait. Fa, not gonna fight that.
They can still technically chase this for a little bit, but the more attention Fa is able to bring to them, the better.
Okay, that's BMI.
Link.
For Fa, they're not letting him return to the base. As not Ayanami, Mirai, and Keishi too are just dealing with the waves. Fa is down, and the portal gets laid down. Now the rest of the members can catch up and just go for the siege. The Lord is still up. Sophia tried to jump in. It's Mirai who she's actually targeting with the blade.
Hey, no, Bruno.
And now it's Winnie using the wind of nature, but they do not care. They're after the base. Lethal counter, and that's the end.
Chán chưa rồi. Come back. Comeback by P nè. Yeah.
From the drafting section, they've had answers, but more importantly, their macro was on point. That's how you set up for a rear naked chokehold, man. No getting out of those ones.
Could barely farm. And I'm not even talking about a single player. I'm talking about both
Come
of their
back.
carries, and even Winnie on the Bruno, who again was forced to play a different hero, and Na'Vi have dealt with it so well.
It's so well, but at the same time, we need to see more. Right now, Na'Vi is looking like they're setting a very high standard here, and GXP, it's either they meet it or they're going to drop that game. We're already at match point, but now we're going to be throwing it back to the studio right after these messages.
Was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Na'Vi are off to an absolutely incredible start, now leading 2-0 in this best of 5, putting them one map away from securing their spot into the grand finals. Welcome back into the studio. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Rinmar and Mirko. Boys, Na'Vi, a big win once again. Rinmar, you got to protect that voice. You're screaming, man.
That wasn't me. That was another guy in the crowd. That was Reptar. That was Reptar. Devilishly handsome. Yeah, that was Reptar, not Renmar. If you know, you know. Man, how do I feel about the fact that it's 2 games now where it feels like we can say we told you so with your drafting priority?
Yeah, I think it was also just exactly as we assumed, right? Game 1, GXP try to subvert our expectations, try to subvert Na'Vi's expectations with crazy picks, denying a lot of the win conditions from Na'Vi. The gamble didn't pay off. Game 2, they went back to their assassins, and Na'Vi had prepared for those assassins. The Claude and the Lilia picks were so good.
So how does Galaxy Phoenix find themselves now? Because it's 2 back-to-back hero selections that they didn't do well. Obviously, the coach on the back lines is doing everything he can.
Yep.
But Galaxy Phoenix, they are knocking on the door of dropping down to only play for 3rd place.
I feel like there's a bit of an overthink on the side of Galaxy Phoenix. There was one ban in the first phase, that Harith rush ban, which we thought meant that they were setting up for either the Freya because the Phovis was gone, or they would pick up the Claw themselves. They subverted expectations, but then it felt like it was a different writer, so the middle of the new trilogy doesn't make sense in the big picture of it all. I'm not throwing pot shots at anything.
We know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, we do. Miracle, let's take a look at the stats, though. Ooh, we get a bit of a different graph this time.
Yeah, we get a total gold. It's a gold chart all around. It's just Na'Vi taking control of the early games through the Bauman. I think it's just classic. Then we see a bit of a slight movement over there on the right towards GXP. But as even the casters mentioned, there's not much that GXP could do even with that team fight win, right? Even with that almost wipeout.
Yeah, we did get to see the role that Sophia needed to play here and what could have been the bad part for Na'Vi, which is if those arrows landed over and over again. But in MLBB for so many years now, it's always about simplicity. How much simpler is your lineup to pull off compared to the opponents? If you have good crowd control, good damage, and it's simple, that's great. If it's a bit too overcomplicated, it's not good for you.
Well, it looks like Rain is in the building, and I don't mean Rain physically, but hey, Rain, the co-streamer, how you doing, man? Let's bring him in, because Rain has been covering the action. He's been hugely passionate about MWI naturally and giving all the coverage not only to his fans, but also to even us at times joining us on the desk. And Rain is an integral part to the MLBB scene, and I know he's been supporting a couple of different rosters, but when we get a chance to speak to him, I want to know what he's thinking about this matchup here. Na'Vi versus Galaxy Phoenix. Rain,
hello,
how
guys.
you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing good. I actually quite enjoying the match just now. For me, Na'Vi PH playing better as a whole. They have better draft, have better early game, better targeting. Yeah, I'm quite enjoy the show right now.
Hey, and that's actually what they've been talking about. Miracle, you mentioned it. When it comes to Galaxy Phoenix, they're just falling behind on the hero draft.
Yeah, it really just feels like that's the case. And King Salman has really gotten the read on Galaxy Phoenix. So I want to ask you, Rain.
Yeah.
What do you think GXP should do for game number 3 to turn things around?
I think they need to think properly their draft, especially there's like certain heroes that might quite questionable against Na'Vi composition. For example, that Hilda against utility jungler. And also, because in terms of when we're saying about mechanical skills, right? I think GXP have that quality that can fight Na'Vi PH, you know. But overall, as a team, because right now, overall, Na'Vi have better targeting, also better wave management, and also good early game. So these three things, GXP need to fight them.
All right, well, let's see if the words of wisdom from you, Rain, will end up paying off for the team of Galaxy Phoenix. Thank you as always, Rain. We really appreciate everything
welcome,
that
I'm
you're doing
enjoying
for
the show
MWI.
with you guys.
Absolutely, and I hope to shake his hand eventually. I haven't actually had a chance to see him in person just yet. It's always been virtual, even though he's quite literally just right up there. So we're going to have to connect. Let's take a look at some of the players' emotions from that game number 2. And in the meeting room, that makes sense. Get everybody in a little powwow, discuss some strategies, get out there and fight.
They have to keep up the discipline, though. We've seen them in the similar position in the Southeast Asian Games gold medal match against Team Malaysia when they were representing Team Philippines. They fumbled that. That hurt them. But they did admit that they learned a lot from that, and they have to show it here. They have to end this series and make it to the grand finals now.
That's it. America, let's take a look at one of our great actions from that second map that we just witnessed. We're going to go towards the mid-game, and I believe close towards a mid-fight for the Lord, at least eventually coming up. What are we noticing in this engagement?
I think right now it's just the fact that Na'Vi are just so calm and composed, right? They don't need to go for the neutral objective. They don't need to send the Freya over because they have the shortcut. A couple of times, though, it did happen where GXP were just quicker and they were able to just pull the trigger. But at the end of the day, it's kind of the same story we saw from game number 1 as well. It was Na'Vi just baiting all these resources with their front line so that their back line could come in late with the shortcut and clean up.
But Renmar, Galaxy Phoenix did show some life. It was a bit later on in the game, but they successfully defended their base. It didn't amount to much in the overall scheme of things, but they were still fighting till the very end.
Yeah, it was a preview. That Selena of Sophia, which did already get to have a great showing in MWI, arrow after arrow, and this is a rare moment in this series of Na'Vi slipping on the discipline, not respecting the gap closing capabilities of Ling on the Sora. It was able to get taken down by Na'Vi, but once that arrow hit, bang, and it landed on Rian as well. So you know that the Selena comfort is there. It's just that, again, overall, this happened way too late.
I think it's just the early fundamentals built up again. Something that Ray mentioned too, right? It's the drafts. Now, what specifically in the drafts should they fix? It's not just the Freya picking up these prio picks, but it's also setting up for the Selena. If you're already planning for it, you need someone with mid prio, someone that can clear fast in the roam like a Cho instead of a Hilda.
Well, as we head back to the stage, the ladies once again get set back up to go toe-to-toe with each other for what could possibly be the final round. Na'Vi wants to close it out now 3-0. Galaxy Phoenix, however, need to reverse sweep. Not an easy task across any esport that you're playing, especially here in the MWI, it can sometimes be an impossible task. Galaxy Phoenix has already achieved the impossible, being the underdog pick, making it to this stage. But is that enough? Are they satisfied with their performance so far? Or do they want a little bit more? As far as the fundamentals go, I understand Galaxy Phoenix is losing the hero picks. But do their fundamentals look good enough to where if they can, in fact, battle Na'Vi in the hero selection, do you think they can actually take down this Na'Vi roster, at least for one more map?
Oh, definitely can. We've seen moments, especially in game number 1, where it was more prevalent, wherein it looked like Na'Vi looked uncomfortable fighting GXP. There were certain angles that they didn't take into account for, didn't realize GXP could even go for. There were moments of discipline that makes me wonder, how come GXP can't do that consistently? If they can find that consistency, then the fundamentals will show.
You did question Sora for the side of Galaxy Phoenix. Do you still question it now?
Yeah, as a first pick, I don't really like it, especially with the Freya up, with the Claude up as well, something that's just integral for Winnie, you know, something that's just so important. I'm going to play devil's advocate, though, for Renmar and say I don't think GXP have the fundamentals against Na'Vi. No,
that's
fundamentally, they are worse than GXP. What they thrive in is chaotic skirmishes where they can rely on their mechanics.
Yeah,
I'd say mechanically, they can go toe-to-toe. Maybe they're even better than Na'Vi PH.
More map against Na'Vi. You made it this far.
Berlain.
After all, top 4 is a massive accomplishment, but making it to grand finals, lifting that trophy, is even bigger than you could possibly imagine.